Hello cosmonauts, today we're going to be exploring what Reddit asks, what made people think you were a GENUIS, but in reality you were not a GENUIS, and was one. Because I was good in school, I just never had the drive after that to do good in life. Someone reply.
Feel this. Once I got into the real world, I realized there is no reward for working hard. No thank yous or grades, just threats to fire you for whatever reason your boss decides. I loved retail because I liked getting told thank you by customers for just being kind and helpful. Dog training too. Neither pays well though. I don't get people who enjoy overworking for nothing.
Answer 2. When testing into my college math classes, I scored high enough to skip a few levels and then immediately had them put me in the lowest math class that would give me credit. It's not that I'm good at math, it's that I'm good at seeing this is a multiple choice answer test and just stuck the answers into the equation and figured out the rest from there. If I had been given anything beyond algebra, I'd have sunk like a rock. Answer 3. In line with this, I think a contributing factor is your economic status. My parents were pretty poor and uneducated, so they didn't know how to push me to do better beyond study hard and do well in exams. Growing up in a small town, there's also that lack of opportunity. I think schools do much more for kids now with after-school clubs and such, but that didn't exist for me. Career advice was a joke. My drive had to come from within, and it wasn't until I was well into my 20s that I realized I needed to do better. Answer 4. I'm a substitute teacher. I'm a tech genius because I used Ctrl-Shift-T to reopen a student's closed computer tabs to show the vice principal that they were looking up horrifically inappropriate things on the computer. None of the kids or admin knew that you could reopen closed tabs. Answer 5. Know how to Google. No, really, that's it. Accurate. People thought I was a literal genius at every office I ever worked at. If I ran into a problem, I literally would just type, "How do I solve problem?" into Google and do it. For a while, I felt bad, like I was somehow cheating or inept at the job because I had to do this. But then I got glowing feedback about stuff which felt ick. So I would be like, "Don't praise me, I literally just Googled it." Imagine my surprise when people would then stare at me blankly like that had never occurred to them. I seriously was a hot commodity, and this is 100% the reason why. I, no joke, do not understand how other people get through life, LOL. And it was like the majority of people I worked with at functioning, normal places. Taking the initiative to find the answer is apparently a highly underrated skill. Answer 6. My cooking. It's just about simple high-quality ingredients, simple techniques, and beautiful presentation. Quality ingredients don't need much, and they don't have to be as expensive. Pre-made things, processed food, ridiculous cooking techniques, and adding unnecessary flavorings cover up real flavors. I don't mean not to use spices. Spices are your friend. But use quality pepper, paprika, cinnamon, cumin, real vanilla. You actually need less of higher quality spices because they are more potent. Answer 7. I have said that I learn best by just poking all the buttons. There was one time in school I had a group project and we had to use a specialized licensed software. I knew I had an out-of-town event to go to just before our presentation. So I went to the computer lab early and sat with the software, the manual, and YouTube, and figured out how to do what we needed to do. I then spent time before I left walking my team through the different things so they knew how to do it, since they wanted to work on it while I was away. Naturally, the night before the presentation, I get increasingly panicked calls because they just saved the file rather than exporting it to a video, so no one could run it, and of course, at 11 p.m. on Sunday, the computer lab is closed. I told them that my part was complete and ready to be compiled and that they should figure it out. One of them was like, "But you're just so naturally good at this, I would think you want to help us out." I basically exploded because I had put in like triple the time, first figuring out the product, completing my part, and teaching them to use it. It wasn't a matter of being good at computers or whatever, I had simply read the instructions we got. The weirdest part of this to me is that the person who said that to me was on academic probation. Our program had a pretty stringent GPA requirement, and I knew exactly where I was in relationship to it. I had the room to do just okay on the assignment. They obviously needed to do well. I really can't understand how they weren't constantly on top of getting the project done as well as possible. I hate to think of the debt they have without having finished the degree. Answer 8. Can solve a Rubik's Cube in under 30 seconds. Someone reply.
Can't. But in the early 2000s, video was not as mainstream as it is now. So I set up my flip phone, took a solved Rubik's Cube, and scrambled the fuck out of it for about 10 seconds. Then I pretended to look at the scrambled sides and finally reversed the video on my computer with some pirated video editor from LimeWire. The next day, my classmates were really impressed when I sent them the video through Bluetooth during recess.
Answer 9 don't have a home phone. Everyone has mobiles, but my SO's youngest has his phone on silent all the time. Tried to ring home, obvious no answer. So went on the Ring app, rang the front doorbell, which made the dogs go nuts, but made him answer the door thinking someone is there. Then spoke to him via the Ring doorbell to tell him to answer his phone. Other half thought I was a genius. Answer 10, I could play multiple musical instruments without lessons or anything. People thought I was a savant, but it was just a natural talent that I had no control over. Answer 11, I'm a stereotypical nerd who loves Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, and solving Rubik's Cubes. I also make straight A's in my college classes. Everyone treats me like I'm a genius, but I feel like an idiot who's just barely squeezing by. Answer 12, I'm autistic and know a lot about my special interests, one of which happens to be history. So in school, people thought knowing a lot equals smart. I don't think I'm stupid, but I also don't think I'm a genius by any means. Answer 13, high school history teacher here. The genius student I had didn't open the textbook once, took very little notes, never came to review sessions, yet sat attentively and answered every question I asked aloud correctly. Showed up to all my tests with just a pencil and would be first to finish nearly every time. Only question he ever got wrong was a bonus one in my first month of teaching that asked the students to correctly spell my last name, as the majority never called me anything but Miss. Fantastic all-around kid too. Athlete, in the musicals, social, loved by all, got into every college he applied for. Answer 14. I'm really good at estimating costs and doing simple math for cost per item breakdowns and quickly. There have been plenty of times when my wife's roommates would bring home produce when she was still just my girlfriend and be excited for the great deals they got. Look at this bag of mangoes I got. It was only $5.25 for 14 of them. You should be excited. That's only like 38 cents per mango. They'd be amazed I just instantly got close to the approximation. It was legit 37.5 cents per mango. In reality, I'm maybe slightly above average in intelligence, but after being broke for most of my adult life, knowing how to quickly assess the value of goods is a great trait to have. Answer 15. As an artist, people throw around words like genius and natural talent. In reality, I've been drawing and painting for more than 40 years. You get good at things when you do them thousands of times, and the more you create, the more creative you get. They don't see all of the horrible failures that are painted over or destroyed or just never finished because they are terrible. That was enough for today, cosmonaut. I'll wait for you in the next travel.